we won't be in the EU. May rails against Marr, saying Brexit will happen in March 2019. Theresa May railed against Andrew Marr in a live BBC interview, insisting the UK will leave the European Union in March 2019 despite the Brexit transition period. The Prime Minister firmly said it was an implementation period to avoid the cliff edge, but that Britain would be out of the Brussels bloc. Speaking on the Andrew Marr Show, on the BBC, Mrs May denied a Brexit transition period meant the UK would effectively stay within the Union. Mr Marr asked whether Britain would still adhere to European Union law. He said, during that transition period, if and when the law changes in the rest of the EU, do we accept those legal changes and regulations or not? But Mrs May replied that it was part of negotiations and the UK's future relationship with the EU would be secured. She said, use of the term transition sometimes gets people thinking that maybe this is something that we won't leave. We'll carry on. This is a very important point, Andrew, because this is about an implementation period. We will leave the European Union in March 2019, but at that point we will have an agreement as to what the future relationship, the future partnership between us and the European Union will be. That's what you might call the end state, where we're going to get to. But in order to ensure that individuals, people and businesses, don't have a sudden cliff edge, that they have time to adjust to that, do practical things like IT system changes and so forth, we will have that 2-year implementation period. Mrs May also hit out at Mr Marr over claims the government was divided on Brexit, insisting Boris Johnson and others were fully behind her Florence speech. She took no prisoners as she said Cabinet was united over its Brexit strategy and denied the Foreign Secretary was moving against her. She said, what I have is a Cabinet that united in the mission of this government, and that's what you will see this week. United in a mission to build a country that works for everyone and agreed on the approach that we take in Florence. The position that the United Kingdom was taking was absolutely the right one. We're going forward on that basis.